the Ferracuti Files. We're here with Rex and Christine Benson. We're going to talk a little bit about the Ottawa Center for the Arts. First of all, if you guys want to tell me a little bit about how you came to be on the board. And
we have a similar story, and I just want you to know that the one that went around is a member of a congregation there, and the master of that organ at Open Table Church, as it was, is just realizing we've got too much church for our congregation.
Yeah.
And they wanted to be turned over because it's part of the historic district there, and it's registered with the Department of the Interior. So both those churches that have those corner units there are both part of that, as is, of course, the park. The statues are there. You have Reddick Mansion. You have the Third Appellate Court. My goodness, talk about the history and the site of the first Lincoln-Douglas debate.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the first thing I learned coming into town as a superintendent. So one of those members just began to go around and thinking, what would be something that could continue the legacy and to be part of the community and the historic type of building that it is, that it wouldn't be maintained. Yeah. And so that was Ann Badger. Yeah. And Ann went around and communicated with a lot of people. And then as we progressed, others knew of someone that just moved to town, would be a nice, their background, a nice diverse. I think Ann was looking for people that could communicate and are good with the community already, have a nice strong base. It's called that name recognition thing, and have the wherewithal and the love and passion for historic buildings and so forth. Yeah. And so she went to Bob Eschbach. So we have someone who was a mayor for a longer period of time and just has passion for that. And it just followed through. People maybe had a music background, someone who had an artistic background, two people that moved to the community, and one has artistic and technology background. So guess who handles our webpage, thank heavens, for us, and does a great job, Doug Dalrymple. And then Jay came with his wife, Reed is his name, back. She was a streeter person from Los Angeles after 30 years of working as a contractor. Talk about something in Hollywood that was built or contracted or what he did, he knows it. Yeah. So he's wonderful for us to go, we need to do something with this before it gets to be a bigger problem for us. Right. So and they're artists. They're both artists. He's more, he does it about everything, it seems like. I took the tour of his house and so forth. And then we just keep moving down. You have Roger Am, obviously connections and longevity here and the ability to understand arts and teaching arts. Susanna Walter, who also runs the Montessori school. Love her so much. A lot of drama.
She and her mother, background. Rosemary is one of the most wonderful people I've ever known.
I'm just sharing that this just continues. And I'm going to forget someone's name, but I brought the program just in case. And our latest new member was Christina Eltervogue, who also singer from here. Yep. So it just grew from that. Ann just happened to know us, and we live in the community since I moved in, and we've enjoyed it, and we have our forever house. So we're like, we're stable here, and just was thrilled with her asking and us coming together. And so we have our bylaws now. We have our 501c3 effective November 30th of 2025. So things are falling into place. And so we're just beginning on the cusp of fundraising. So far, we've been able to gather the funds, just happenstances. They just fallen in place. So when we purchased the church that we call the Abbey, we were able to get the funding for that fairly quickly. And that was $175,000. So that worked very, very well from community members, from the former congregation, where both the former congregations of these churches have been so helpful to us all.
Yeah,
so
they're very invested. The Episcopalian congregation is incredibly invested in making sure that
and they're glad to see
that building is maintained,
where it's going.
Yeah,
and,
I love
and
that
so
entire
forth.
congregation.
And the fire that was there 10 years ago, and the fire chief and one of the Ottawa officials came in to do the tour and then tell us okay, you're going to have to do this, you're going to have to do that. And they were thrilled because we do have architects that will be helping us with this planning as we move out so that we don't end re-spending or having to go back and redo minimal, and that
Sure.
we do them when the money becomes available to
Sure.
us for us. So they were thrilled. But number two, he said, I remember I was just a fireman at the time. Now he's
Yep.
fire chief. He
Yep.
said, I walked in and that fire was just running down the roof line.
Yeah.
It was horrific. And what they've done as a congregation to completely redo the inside, there was still a couple things that we had to take care of. And it had been shuttered really for a couple of years. So,
Yes,
you know,
absolutely.
they called that deep cleaning. We
Yeah.
just said, we got to get to work because we want it safe for the patrons and we want it accessible to the patrons. So here we are. We're just laying out our vision and our plan the next 2 to 5 years. What do we have to get done first and foremost? And then we'll raise the money for that. And then after that 2 to 5 years, okay, maybe we're ready for repurposing.
Right.
And
Sure.
repurposing is, where can we put the stages? I don't know that there'll be much change in what we call the Abbey. I know the
Yes.
Great Hall will have
Yeah.
more changes, just
Right.
the very nature of it.
Right.
So
Sure.
anyway, that Ann Badger formed this motley crew of people with diverse background. Our board meetings used to be about an hour, and now they're 3.5 to 4 hours, just
Oof.
because we have them once a month, but we have so much to attend to right now. And thank heavens they're all diehards, they're all passionate, and they just see this as they're the stewards, but they see the community
I
as
hope
being
Amy
the
Navarro is
owners.
listening to this. So Amy Navarro sold me on the food basket the first year
Yeah.
when I joined, which was a long time ago now. She was like, yeah, our meetings are only about 45 minutes. And I got on that board and I swear to God, there was never a meeting that was 45 minutes. I was like, you just lied. I love you. And you're lucky you are like the sweetest,
Yeah,
most wonderful
well-
person I've ever met, because here I am.
And I'm glad you're on it. And see, she knew exactly what she
But it
was
was like
doing.
3
What a
hours.
personality. What a
They
great
were 3
leader.
hours. No, she is.
She's got to be.
She is one of the most wonderful people I know.
That's
truly
wonderful.
driven, wonderful people I know. But so I guess, what do you think that the core mission of the Ottawa Center for the Arts is?
Well, I'm going to back up that,
Okay, I love that.
you know, there are a couple people in town that you just can't say no to.
Yeah.
Ann Badger is one. So when she asks you to help or to do something, you say yes. The other one is part of the Open Table congregation is Donna Martin. If Donna Martin comes up to you and says, well, okay, Rex, we need da-da-da-da. Okay, yeah.
If Martin or Rick Marble, either one of them looked at me and said to do something, I would
That's
automatically go
correct.
without
And
question.
You just don't say no.
And I'm going to reinforce a little bit here. Both congregations have worked hard to make the Ottawa Center work for them. We talked about the Episcopal Church, and their congregation was down to about 10 people, and the pastor was leaving. So they did have some funds. And like they said, they kind of opened it up to several different groups in town to try to take over the building. In the process, the building went back to the diocese. And so we give them credit. Unfortunately, the diocese had no vision of what happens to the church. They didn't care. All they wanted was money. And so we thank the congregation for giving us some money, as they gave some other groups some of their funds too, that did help us to be able to, with some other donations, to purchase the Episcopal Church. And then the Congregational Church, the Open Table Church, that was the original vision with Ann Badger, was that they were no longer worshiping in the sanctuary, which is on the second floor. They were dealing with an elevator that worked part of the time, and now it doesn't work. And so that's another whole discussion. But it was like they were looking for, I think, a win-win of where they could continue to worship but not have have to deal with the entire building. Now, to their help, we weren't able to take the building over because we couldn't get insurance for it. All right, so as a church, they had grandfathered the whole time. Well, it had old-fashioned electrical in it, and
Nothing
so as another group trying to get insurance, that didn't work. So you give Open Table credit because they spent about 20,000 to upgrade the electric of the building so that that Ottawa Center could take it over. So I like to reinforce that both congregations were, I think, had the vision of what Ottawa Center is and what we want to do with our campus. We'll kind of tease and call it the Ottawa Center campus. But
Well, and I love the, I don't know if most people in town probably haven't been in either church or maybe both churches, but I had been the Episcopalian until I walked through it for the food basket. And it is truly one of the most beautiful places that I walked through. That great hall is just incredible. It is gorgeous upstairs. The stained glass is beautiful. The stories behind the stained glass are incredible. The artwork there is just stunning. And in open space in that church as well, the same open table, the same idea upstairs, that great hall, the acoustics in there we've talked about are incredible and really one of my favorite places. But actually the place I like most about that church actually is not even the downstairs where the kitchen is, but the back house, the pastor's house.
Oh,
that is probably my favorite part of that church. It is just it's the cutest. Yeah. It's the cutest little house back there. And I always thought it was so like homey in there and inviting and just wonderful to be in if you were in it for any reason. But I, as somebody who spent a lot of my childhood there taking violin lessons and using it for the arts, I am glad to see that building is going for the arts, because as long as I've known that building, it's been filled with music.
Well, and the pipe organ, there's a pipe organ in both of them, but the one in the Great Hall, the Congregational Church, when Ann opens that one up, oh my.
Let the hounds loose. And when she lets those hounds loose, I'll tell you, that organ just fills that space.
It does, yeah. I've heard a couple people play it. It's beautiful up there.
Well, and we just had the Bradley Chorale and the Crimson Choir from the high school come in and do a joint concert this last weekend, and they remarked about the acoustics.
Yeah, Bradley Chorale is still one of my favorite. We did when I was my daughter's age, they had a choir camp that they did every year, and they actually still have it. I just saw something posted about it by the same man who ran it when I was there.
Wonderful.
Joe is still running it, but he put up something a couple weeks ago about choir camp, and I was like, man, I'm going to sign my kid up. Like, I just want her to go and have the same experience, because you do get to go with a bunch of the singers from the Bradley Chorale. They come in and coach it. It really is. It was such a good experience for me. Every year when I went, it was a whole week away, and you're on that campus at Eureka, but it's a great time, and they teach you a lot of good things. You have a lot of good, really, really impressive and talented people around you who are encouraging you to sing to the best of your ability and fill the space with,
And you meet wonderful artists that you wouldn't have the chance to meet.
People I'm friends with still today. One of my good friends from there, she's an opera singer and has been on Broadway now twice. It's incredible watching her journey. And the only reason I ever met her is because we went to choir camp together for 5 years, and we ended up both at Wesleyan. So it was incredible. So I can't stress enough how much I love them.
Good connections.
And I like this being in town because I like the opportunity for kids here.
Yes.
Obviously we have a good music program, but we've always had a great music program, but the opportunity for kids here to actually be involved and get to go see, various different types of music and arts that maybe we don't normally get.
And that's exactly what this organization is going toward. I mean, we have to be very careful of our background and our lens in the arts, that there's arts that's going to be developing that are out there that we don't even know about.
Correct,
so we do not want to curtail this in any way, shape, or form. And so we listen to the community. They drop off suggestions. And some of them, they come from a different background, but some of our people that maybe they've come over from Germany or Europe and they're visiting or they're stayed, that's their family heritage. Well, they grew up with opera. Yeah. They just grew up with it's just main course. I mean, when we were in Europe and we were traveling around Italy, it was like, we have the jazzers.
Yeah.
I love it. And the drummers. They have the string quartets on the
everywhere.
street corner, and they have the singers that are everywhere. Just opera is the mainstay. So we're looking for those kinds of performers also to come to expose us, number one, to that form of art, but also to hear And to satisfy, everyone comes with a different vision of what they're looking for. And you asked the mission, and actually,
I was
we
going to
worked,
say, I saw it
we
on
worked
there.
really long and hard on this baby. So just
Well, I asked that because that's what I did with you when we were when I
yes,
was in 8th grade. I got to create the mission statement for OES with Christine. So that's why I asked about the mission. I was
but you
I was
know
going to
that
hit
that's
it.
important.
I know that matters to
because
her.
that's what we look at, and our vision we look at. You know how we
I
think.
know that matters to you. That's why I asked.
Okay, you just have to deal with it. All right. The mission that we set for the Ottawa Center for the Arts is to inspire creativity, preserve the historic architecture. So it's a twofold type of thing. We've got these historic buildings that are artworks in their own rights,
Absolutely.
and enrich the community through the performing and visual arts, and no holds barred. It's like when we think of a staging area, which is way down the road, but say you get a staging area in that great hall, we have to be careful not to cover the pipes. So we have to have a temporary scrim back there that we can just pull it aside and then be able to have the other things. But the scrims anymore can do such wonderful things artistically.
Yeah, as I said, the lights are
Animation, everything.
Right.
Or you go through backwards or forwards and you get different views. So scrims are just phenomenal for short spaces like that. Yeah. So we're looking forward to that. So like this very opening picture that you see there, we don't lose sight of that. Yeah. But we don't really have an area for dance. Yeah. So that's where we need to get a flat, leveled area.
I wonder if you could do that in an Episcopalian. Up at the top, up in the front of
it's still not big enough, but yes. But
that's because that was my thought. Was man, that would be beautiful. Up
yes,
there. That would be such a beautiful space to dance in.
And we're not moving that altar, by the way. I mean, how many tons does that altar
weigh? I was gonna say, there's no way you could, right?
It's tons.
It's a huge cement all the way down to the basement. Yeah.
But we've gotten, and we update this, so we only print a few at a time, and then we hand them out because we keep adding. Like Christina, we have to add on our next printing of this. We have our 501c3 here. We say we don't. So this is almost gone, and we'll get the new printing out. So this is what we're trying to do. The hardest thing is to get out to the community. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they all receive it in different ways.
Yeah, absolutely. And I hope that, there's a lot of different kinds of arts, and I'm hoping that some kids maybe even will get involved in this and want to present different kinds of arts that they're working on. Like I know there's a couple kids, it's funny, when we were that age, there were kids that wanted to rap and maybe weren't as good, but like people like Dax and, artists like Dax and artists like Connor Price have really changed that and made it so that kids think it's more accessible. Yes. And it is an independent artist thing. Dax and Connor Price are both independent artists who have both, really developed on their own rather than selling out to a label. And do their own market. Like Connor Price's wife does his TikTok and like does his marketing for him, which is really cool to like hear their backstory and see how they've done everything. But seeing kids now that are listening to them and like really enjoying that kind of rap, which is very different from the rap I grew up with. Like I grew up with Eminem and 50 Cent, right? So like it's very different than the rap I grew up with. But these kids are rapping like Dax raps about God all the like that. You know what I mean? Like these are different kinds of like it's kind of neat to see, and it's like I heard my daughter. She was listening to Dax the other day, and he's incredibly he's an incredible artist. I mean, I don't even know how he gets as much out as he does. And she kept up every word with him in the backseat the other day. And I was like,
oh, they're amazing.
I was like, maybe you are maybe you're actually into this. You actually like this. Is this your thing? She really liked it. And then, then there's other kids like my other niece, her daughter, who plays xylophone. And she literally played the drums for 6 months and made all-state band, seventh chair for all-state band. I don't remember. But she made all-state band her first try after 6 months of playing drums with no lessons.
Well, I'm amazed. Yeah, I'm amazed at with technology today, of what students. We're the generation of you had to study music and you had to study theory and I have to do all of this, and with technology, you have kids that can create and write their own things. They can do all of this, and they're not inhibited by any traditional rules of what we used to have to follow or this type thing. And it's just kind of like it just opens up where we can go. And that's part of our arts. We're hoping that we're open enough for anything that comes down the line. And you talked about youth. We are looking into trying to incorporate some of the high school kids to be involved with what we do, and some of the junior high kids. Yeah.
Yes.
So, with Roger Am's connections and Allie Stakowicz at the high school, and then with the drama connection. So we're trying to create that. Martin Cernicki from the Shepherd Junior High is very active with us, and
he's been so great to Addie. Like, just so great to Addie. Like I said, he called my sister to tell her like how great she was. And my sister called me and was like, "Do you realize that my child taught herself and is doing really well?" And like 3 other instruments I didn't even know she played. Did you know she did that? Like, she signed up for 2 bands next year. She's also an incredible vocalist. Like, the first time I'm gonna tell the story because it's hysterical. We were in Dairy Queen. We went to Eagle Lane. She was trying out for a show. I don't even remember. Alice in Wonderland. She was trying out for Alice in Wonderland. We went to Dairy Queen before, right? Yeah. Oh, Culver's. Yeah, not Dairy Queen. So God, yeah, I should have really screwed that up twice. We went to Culver's, and we were sitting at Culver's talking, and I said, "You're gonna have to sing," and she said, "I'll sing there," and I said, "Just let me hear you sing." And I'd never heard her sing. I mean, I've heard her like in the backseat of the car. Yeah, and she hadn't heard her either. And so she was like, "I'm not singing. We're in public." And I was like, "I will buy you ice cream and give you $20 if you sing right now." And she belted. She just started belting, and I just started sobbing in the middle of a Culver's. I was like, "What is happening? And why are you so good? Who trained you? Like, how did you get?" She was like, "I've just been singing." And I was like, "You are."
I hear people make that noise and I mimic it.
I was going to say, she
So-
has an ear.
So
She
this
does.
is so this was the thing that had us laughing. So when Alyssa and I were like 14,
I love
we
it.
would play Match the Pitch, because I was a music kid, right? And Alyssa always wanted to do that. And I couldn't do any of the sports she could do, right? So we had very different talents. So we would lay in bed, and I would like sing a note, and she would try to match it. And then we would both laugh for like 25 minutes because she couldn't match it. And it was constantly up. And like, just like we went to volleyball, and I literally threw up on the first day of conditioning because that was not my thing. We Coach Kuhn and I
We all
literally
have our
died.
talents.
Yeah, that was not my thing. I was trying really hard to get out of my bubble, but that was not a thing. But we laughed about it, and then she sat down. She was like, "Yeah, I just like to match pitch." And so it was funny. Slowly but surely, I started to get text messages from Addie at like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. "Hey, I found this song. Do you know what this means?" And she would send me like, because she didn't have music theory, right? So she'd send me different like words of the music, or it's different rests that maybe she hadn't seen before, and I'd have to explain it to her. And she started playing drums, and when she started playing drums, she sent me a drum cadence. It was like, "Hey, do you know what this sounds like?" And I was like, you literally picked the only instrument I don't know anything about. I can't help you. Like, I'm gonna have to teach myself drums, and then I can come back and help you with that. But right now, I couldn't tell you what that sounds like. I can tell you what the notes. I think I can tell you. I think what the rhythm is. And so I downloaded this Teach Me Drums app on my phone, taught myself enough to get through it, and then was trying to help her.
Good for you.
I was trying to help her, but she and I were laughing. She was like, "That's so funny that like 10 o'clock at night, that's what you and Addie's text messages are all about. It's you and her trying to figure out what music piece she should sing for an audition, or what'll help her most as she moves on." But it is an incredibly, her generation, the upcoming musical generation, I think, that's coming out of Shepherd. It's got some really talented kids in it.
Yeah.
It had a lot of state musicians in it, but a lot of really talented kids.
Their leadership with Becky Weiler now and Martin Cernicki are just a couple of the best.
Yeah,
And leading into Andrew at the high school, and Allie. That's a long tradition, and it's been nice to see them maintain the tradition but put their own color on it.
Yeah, I think Allie's going to do great things over there. She already has our niece, Jeremiah's best friend's daughter, who was born our senior year of high school. She was a senior last year, so it's been a real weird 360 for all of us. I know. She had Stax and loved her so much that she wouldn't get a tattoo of things that Stax had said to her. and put it on her wrist of things that Stacks had said to her that meant a lot to her, and
It
showed
is.
it to her during class. And Stacks, the video is so funny because she was like, "That's fake." So she like looks at it and she grabs her arm. She's like, "That's fake. That's gonna wash off." And it doesn't. She's like, "Oh my God, it's real." But she just, I mean, she
Yeah.
just adored her. She
Yeah.
encouraged her where, and showed her what she was capable of in ways I
Well,
think others didn't.
And to let you know what's coming down the pipe, we do have junior high coming in to do some performances. We also have for drums, we have the Northern Illinois University Steel Drum Band coming in.
Yeah, she should
So-
come watch that. She
and
would love that.
I'm sure she would enjoy it, and she
Yeah.
would be intrigued by it. I'm just here's the board of directors of where we are now. Just so you want to, maybe see someone or talk to someone, you can ask them also. But
Yeah.
Ann Badger, of course, is our executive director. She started the whole thing, and then myself and my husband Rex and Tommy Stroh, Annette Bruce, Roger M, Douglas Dalrymple, Robert Eschbach, Jay Reed, Jonah Sharp, and Susanna Walter. So we have we have diversity, but the weighting's maybe a little bit older generation there, but we have some young ones too. And Christina Eltervoog says she just loves that we think she's young now too. But I said,
Yeah,
you are.
I feel
To
that
me,
in my soul.
You're young. You're a young horse.
feel
But
that in
these
my
are
soul.
the people so involved with it, and you're right. We're trying to have the variety of all kinds. We have right now also what we call the view.
View from the Abbey.
The view from the Abbey, and that is just we have 2 chairs, a little table, a water pitcher. I mean, we look official for just interviewing people. And the first person that
Jefford Zane.
and we had seen
He was an
him.
Ottawa grad.
Yep.
And
Yep.
of course, where we first, our neighbors are the Reardons, who taught at Ottawa High School. And of
Yep.
course, they knew him as a student coming through. And so we had the opportunity. He sings with the Lieutenant Dan Band.
He does, yeah.
And
Up in
oh my
Cantini last
goodness.
summer,
Yep.
so we got to see him, and I saw he has more hair than me. I just I go, how do these guys, anyway, but very talented.
Yeah,
And he
incredibly
came
talented.
and he was here for an award,
Yep.
and so he came over.
Was it the Hall of Fame
Hall of
for
Fame,
Ottawa High
yep,
School?
Ottawa
He
High
was
School,
in-
yep.
Susanna did a wonderful interview with him because they kind of knew each
Yeah, I was
other.
gonna say, I'm
and
sure she knew.
and they chit chatted, and it was just a nice a nice audience was there. And the next one is this Sunday. Dr. Tom Yupst is going to be there.
I love Tom.
And then down the road, we have WGN. So we have John Williams coming in. So those are kind of interesting, just interviewing of different people doing different things and maybe coming from Ottawa,
Yeah.
a lot of them the hometown. So we have those. We're looking for some film like venues where we'll do a bunch of film weekend or something and
Yeah.
specialize on something. It won't be Telluride, so it won't be something like Sundance or anything like that. But
Yeah.
it's something. So we're trying to keep it mixed up. We're trying to keep it.
Well,
variety.
hopefully the Roxy gets to partake in that because it is such an integral part of the history here too. That
it
building
is.
it absolutely is filled with so much history here, and they really have left it pretty much intact so that you can see.
And
Like
the
the original
important-
film room upstairs is really cool,
But when you look what's
and the
Oh,
stages are so
yes.
neat.
yes.
The original stages.
Yeah.
Two unique ones. Yeah. When
They
we
are.
think of the Abbey, the old Episcopalian church, I don't know that we're going to change that altar area that much.
Yeah.
Perhaps level it off a little bit, but that's a smaller venue, so that's kind of the way it is. Perhaps the pews may become tables and more of a cafe kind of a style cabaret. That's down the line.
Yeah.
The other one, the Great Hall, the Congregational Church, that one's probably going to have the biggest construction as far as the altar area to turn that more into a major stage and what we're talking about with a scrim and this kind of a thing. What we run into is anytime we start to make changes, now we're into ADA and all of the legal side of things, where both churches have been able to grandfather of where they are.
Sure.
As soon as we make changes, now
Major
we're
changes.
into major changes.
Which,
So
which we need to do. I mean, the architects put it this way: we want to get people, first of all, safely inside the building and accessible,
Right.
and to be able to walk around the building.
Right. Correct.
And so that's kind of when we set down for our vision. What's the first things? Well, and you're asking that. Well, one of the first things is to do floor plans,
Yeah.
because there are no. We've searched high and low.
No.
We've dusted things off. We
Not for the UCC at all.
so so
Yeah.
that's going to be a cost. It's
So
not
the
a big
architects
cost.
came in and they use a
They love
3D
the buildings.
camera now where
Oh,
they
it's beautiful.
literally
Yeah.
film everything. And so it's not only just dimensions, but also height, width,
Yeah.
volume, what can be done. So it's kind of like the architects have said, before we really can start any kind of modeling or design kind of things,
Even a concept
we-
drawing.
we
They've
have to
gotta
know
have
what
it.
we're dealing with.
So,
Yeah. Absolutely.
so that's the
And-
first thing. And then the second thing is that bane of my existence right now, that elevator.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's a major, but you have to attend to it.
Yeah.
Well,
it has to happen.
and we have
so
the
we're in the
folder.
process of doing that. So.
We have the folder of repairs from Open Table of what they've dealt
Oh,
with
yeah, they've
for
done.
years.
Oh yeah.
And it's like we understand as their congregation diminished, they didn't need to be in the sanctuary upstairs.
Right.
So they have stayed on the main floor and made a very nice setting for them.
It is.
Yeah.
But we kind of look through there and the amount of money that's been spent on that elevator.
Yeah. Could have
And-
bought a new elevator.
And so now we've walked in
Yeah.
and
And we've done some repairs. And
we've
then-
done some repairs on it, and we thought we had it to the point that it would get by, knowing that this is all temporary. And it was like, okay, the pump has to have more fluid put into it for it to function correctly. And it'd be like, okay, it's not working. All right, put more oil in. Okay, it's working. And then the last time we go to put oil in it, we're watching the oil go into the pump and watching it drip right
Oh.
through the bottom of it,
no.
down into the bottom. So
So that
the
So now I
elevator
gotta
is
get
dead,
one. Yeah.
officially
well,
dead
not
right
only-
now.
They've actually found these are old elevators. This was a used elevator
Yeah.
that was you
Yes.
remember, see?
Yes.
And so it's had excellent use. And whenever you have an elevator of that style, and you have to get a new one, you're not going to fit a brand new
No.
elevator.
Correct.
in
Yeah.
where
It's
it
too
is now.
small. Right.
And so now you're talking
Expansion.
$250,000 up
Yes.
to do that
Yep.
because it's major. So
Yes.
now they got some things that are made that are a pump where they didn't used to have this before. And now hopefully the pump will come in. It'll be like brand new. They get it from Canada, I guess, a company there. And it's going to take a while to get put in, but as long as we can get some years out of it, it doesn't, because where the elevator will actually end up, I don't know where that will be.
Right.
And so we want this to work. And obviously people are patient with us. They know we're working on it. We're getting the plans made. We got the bid. Now, what's the next important thing right after
Yeah.
that? Funding.
Funding. Correct.
And so we're trying to get the funding. That's where we are for all the projects that we have. But
Well, and the funding for that elevator, we are looking at a little over 50,000
yeah.
to
I'm
make
sure,
it
just to-
function.
Yeah.
And
But
some people
down
say
the
count your
line-
blessing because it could be so much more.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
But down the line, I think as we redo the staging in the Great Hall, and a second egress, because the current egress are little tiny steps that go
on the
behind
backside. Correct.
behind the same.
Yeah, I've walked those many a time.
Oh yeah, and you kind of creep down, and it's like, yeah,
Walking that in a line with
that's-
a lot of
that's
other
not gonna
little
work,
kids with
yeah.
violence is
Exactly.
not a good idea. Just so you know. You
Yeah.
trip a lot.
Again, good
So
things.
I think our vision is to, as we change that, and probably put in a bigger elevator where you
Yeah.
could bring equipment in and
Yeah.
make that kind of the
That
staging
would really be
area.
great. For
Yeah, and so
That is the worst part of performing upstairs is that you have to carry all that equipment up
You do.
those.
yes,
You
And
do.
I love those are beautiful stairs, but they are terrible to carry things up.
Yes.
They are terrible to carry
There's
things up. It is
all kinds of revamping.
those are beautiful
to be
stairs.
done.
Beautiful
It's a wonderful
stairs. Awful to
staircase now they
carry.
have it,
Yeah.
yes.
Awful
But
to carry.
we've learned a lot, and coming from a school background,
Yeah.
if it's ADA, you just don't mess with it.
Yeah, correct.
But
Yeah.
the one thing that the state of Illinois did was develop life health safety funds for school districts, which if you have something critical and it's unsafe, it's like the fire at St.
Right.
Anne's in Chicago. That started the whole thing going. We can't have this. We have to
Right.
be able to bond. So up to a certain point, you're allowed to do that. So you can always keep, hopefully, ahead of the game and keep those buildings safe and secure for
Right.
students and community. When you're in this particular type of not-for-profit organization that we have to rely on the kindness of people to donate and to understand, keep the lights on. And
Right.
that's exactly what we're doing with some of these staging and performances.
Yeah.
It basically keeps the lights on. And then beyond that is where you actually look at raising funds, like a capital campaign,
Yeah.
a membership campaign,
Right.
our famous donor. So those are the
Right.
3 that we've developed just recently and put that together. And so people are going to start
You'll be
to
hearing
see
from
it.
us.
You'll be
Yeah,
hearing from
good.
us.
Hey.
And hopefully can help out. And we try and do it over time.
Yeah.
And we don't want to, obviously, it's not a situation where you want to borrow if you don't have to. You want to do
Correct,
it
yeah.
as you can in stages.
Yes.
And do the things that you can do. But it's been wonderful. People come out of those performances so happy
Yeah.
that it's here.
Yeah.
It's close by.
Yeah.
And some of them go up to Rockford or they do other things. And I heard some people come out and say, this last concert, it just affected me. It was so meaningful. Realizing too that that's not just the performances, that we're going to broad base this. We're going
Right.
to have dramatic productions. We're also going to have a documentary type of things that we do showings of. We're looking for lecture series, book signings, anything that people would enjoy doing.
Okay, well, now you got to talk Susanna into starting a drama group like there is in Streeter or Sandwich or any of these other places, so that when they're not in school, convince Susanna to do that. I mean, I'll message her too. She hears me because I know she listens to this because we're friends. So she'll hear this. Wink, wink.
That's wonderful.
I love you. I'll help you, but
Well, that's something that she suggested right away too.
Yeah.
Was that
amazing.
Radium Girls play that they have? It could be something. It's part of Ottawa.
Oh, absolutely.
It's enriching. It's
Absolutely.
almost something you could do every year, every other year, because it's just part of our heritage to understand our history
Yeah.
and where we've come from.
My dad represented them. I have a lot of the original artifact
that's
stuff in the
amazing
back.
to
It's
me,
pretty
too.
cool. Yeah.
That is.
It's pretty cool. I have the pictures and everything
Wow.
else.
But when you think of community theater, that is one of the elements missing in Ottawa.
For sure.
We
Yeah.
miss-
And it's in
I
all of our
came here and I
surrounding
go,
communities, which is crazy.
It's in Mendota.
Yeah.
It's in River.
Streeter.
It's in
Sandwich.
Streeter, it's in Princeton.
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
Peru.
What?
Yeah.
What
Everywhere.
happened? Because your talent abounds here.
Yeah.
It's just a wonderful place. So
Yeah. Absolutely.
we're in
Absolutely.
agreement.
So we see that as
That
our
all-
venue is going to be for that.
I would love
That's-
that.
something like that. All kinds of things.
Look, we wouldn't even have to drive as much. My kid was looking to try it for the sandwich stuff because we live right outside of Earlville now.
Sure, it's easy.
So
to
we have a farm, so she was looking to try out for the sandwich place, and I was like, if you take on one more thing besides the 6 sports you're already in, I will die. I need you to pick a couple things.
Well, I can invite you to something, but I'll wait until we're done over the summer.
Oh, go for it.
One of my last productions, and I've done 23 of them. Community up in Mendota.
Oh,
It's one of the oldest community theaters still around. And my last production is probably going to be Mary Poppins. So
I love Mary
we'll
Poppins.
Fly her in, and we'll fly her out, and
Oh,
so
okay,
know,
we'll definitely come. I love
you
Mary
need to
Poppins.
come
That's my
see it.
favorite.
But
Anyway.
we always are looking for young ones that like to be a part of it, and they come from West Chicago. They come from Coal City.
Yeah.
They come from Princeton when they audition. If the show, it
Fits,
feels to
yeah.
hey, I like this. Beauty and the Beast. We had people from different places all
Yeah.
of a sudden. Newsies from
Yeah.
all over. So
Yeah,
those
Newsies
kinds of
was
shows. We had a
huge.
whole ton of Ottawa students when we did Grease Lightning.
Yep.
Mhm.
Okay.
I had to come up with
Grease-
it. I was having a senior
I was
moment
going through
here.
it too because 23, you kind of go down the list and go, okay.
Well, let's tell them how you got into this. We were the music department at Mendota High School,
Yeah.
and
Oh, that's our background.
of course, then I always teased that she went to the dark side and went into administration. But as part of as
But I
being,
could spread the word about music.
Yeah. Right.
Let's face it, and
Right.
it was a
arts.
good
Right.
move. It
Yeah.
really was a good move.
Yeah.
But as
Yeah.
superintendent, we founded an education foundation in Mendota, and so she was instrumental in that happening. And then for her to stay then in the fine arts, it became a fundraiser for the Education Foundation for these musicals. And so it was a summer musical, and we coined it 3M. Probably could get sued for that, but
They haven't
it
come
was
after us yet.
it was Mendota Education Foundation. Mendota Community Theater was part of that, and Mendota High School.
Yeah.
So Chris was the director of that, and so 20-some years of different shows there. And of course, starting out doing shows in the Civic Center up there, where we'd set up and tear down, to the old high school, and then part of the new high school. And so that's where the background is, and it's kind of like we're excited to complete that, and then for her to do one here in the Great Hall, make that happen. The architects that we're using are they are part of Ottawa Elementary now. They're on call with them.
Gotcha.
They are the architects that we used at Mendota High School. And so the audio engineers, this kind of a thing, we went with them. Chris did a lot of research as superintendent when we were building the new school there. Went to these guys and saw what they had done in different places. And as architects, one of their major areas was fine arts. And so we just felt like we needed that. We were still able to use some of the local architects and this type thing, but they came in with the vision of the fine arts. And so I had to compliment their audio engineer, because as a band director, what I would hear in the band room, and then we would go on stage.
It would be totally different things.
No, it
The
matched.
acoustical engineer
Really?
It
matched it.
matched.
That was
And-
always my complaint when I played, was that it was totally different.
Yes.
Yes.
And
Wow.
the old school.
Oh, yeah.
I finally learned that you had to deal with different sounds in the rehearsal room,
Right.
because once you went into the auditorium, it'd be totally different.
Right.
And I kind of chuckled several years that I finally figured out that there was a hot spot in the old auditorium. And whatever instrument you put in that hot spot, they were going to be strong.
Yeah.
So I made the mistake of having saxophones there and quickly learned, no, French
strong.
horns, okay,
Yeah, they were strong
euphoniums,
players.
okay.
They were already strong players.
But
so it's wonderful.
so we had this lead architect come out, and Roger Am's son Tyler did a video for us.
Sure.
And so it's on our website, and filmed, and had both mayors on it, and
Sure.
Susanna and Chris,
Sure.
and this kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Very professional. And so the architect came out, and he's intrigued by this, of an older building,
They like older buildings.
Yeah.
Also.
and took
Absolutely.
They do.
and took
Yeah.
it back to his crew and to the sound technician and to some of their other lead architects, and they're like, oh, we're intrigued by this group. Okay, so part of that was this video that Tyler put together, and then for him to see it and go, and he is one of these that walks around and goes, slope is wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, hand railing's
Yeah.
wrong. We need egress.
That slope is rough
No,
in
we
there.
need this. Da,
The
da, da,
slope
da.
is rough in there.
Yeah, and it's kind of like,
That slope is
okay.
rough in there.
But we're excited
dictator on
because
it.
Yeah.
we think they'll be,
That was the first
they're
thing we
already
said, too.
dreaming too.
And
So-
they love to deal with people at the local area. So we had another building that we were having built, and we used local people at that particular
in
point.
Mendota.
And they're
Yeah.
very good at dealing and working with the local people.
Yeah, that's
They
great.
think that's important.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely.
Because it's their community, it's
Right.
their buildings. So
Right.
it's good.
Great. Well, I'm very grateful that both of you came on, and I'm looking forward to coming to some things with my nieces and
Oh yes.
spending some time there.
Well, we have the Roadshow series where Illegal Smiles came in, and we've had a couple other groups that I have to admit, I have no clue what some of these groups are coming in, and it's kind of like, Well, that's cool. Steve Sharp is
Oh, yeah,
coming in
Steve
with
Sharp.
his
Oh, he's
band.
always lovely.
And
That's good
I
stuff.
get to introduce them, and I'm looking forward to telling stories that
Be careful now.
they played for our daughter's wedding.
Yeah.
Oh.
And
And
so
they told
I'm-
some stories, and we're going, really? That's interesting. So anyway, they're interesting people, that's for sure.
Yes,
and
they are.
They do a great
They
job.
do a great job. Yeah,
But that's
absolutely.
coming up this weekend too. So
Well, I'm
Just
looking
keep
forward to
watching.
spending some time there, and
and
I
string
look forward
quartet
to
we had.
I
So,
look forward
yeah.
to it continuing to build and,
We do
and
too.
seeing it grow in the community. I think it'll be really great for the community,
Yeah.
especially like I said, the community theater part of it. I think will be huge here.
Yeah.
I think you've got a lot of kids that really want to be involved that maybe are too afraid to do it at the school
we
level.
got that whole crew that one year. They were up and
Yeah.
they were fabulous.
Well, there's a lot of
I
kids that
think
are too
Roger
afraid
helped.
to do it at the school level too. You know, that's sort of as a previous theater kid, that's kind of a cliquey group. You know, once you do a play, it's the same kids generally that are in the plays each and every year, and sometimes it's
There-
scary as
there's
an outside
something-
student to try out.
There is something about getting away from home.
Yeah.
We would travel with the show choir and with the band like every other year. We'd do major tours. And it was like the further away from home you got, then everybody kind of bonded and, and it was differently. And we got away from the baggage that was at home.
Yeah, I think people
get And a lot yet-
more out of their show.
As you
They do.
came back after the tour was ending and you're coming back, you could see some of that creep right back in again. And it's kind of like,
It's good
Okay,
experiences.
all right, move
good
on.
experiences for students to have, and that's very part. It's so important in their growth.
Yeah,
To
absolutely.
understand it. So.
And I think every kid should be given the chance to do some sort of, theater or arts. I think it helps you grow as a person to learn some skill, even if it's out of your, out of your wheelhouse. I think it helps you grow as a person.
And there's different experiences in general. I mean, this is the Center for the Arts, but I know when our children were growing up, it's like, to do an athletic activity is important. It's a different
It is a different
growth factor.
Yes,
It's a different
absolutely.
kind of thing.
team
You
bonding.
can
And,
get- and all
yeah.
those kinds of aspects. So there's great ways of doing that, or being part of, the chess club or whatever
right.
the kids do. These are important things I think, for them. But this, I'm
Dad,
passionate.
me
about
too, but
this.
Dad used to say music is a lifelong. There'll never be a time when you can't participate in that hobby. And that's why he felt like music was so important for me, especially as a kid. And he's been right. I mean, most of my stress now comes out in singing. I mean, even if it's just me.
well, you brought up the connections that you've made, that you've lifelong friends. And for our kids too, that would go to a conference festival, or they would go to IMEA, ILMEA district or All-State or something, and run into some of the same students. Same.
Right. Every year you make the same group of friends. I'm telling you, I have like 20 of them on Facebook. We go to any of the same schools, we go to any of the same colleges, but we all became friends through ILMEA or jazz choir or whatever it might be, and have just kept in touch. And I think probably the coolest part for me about music now is being able to share it with Ad. That's been Addie and I have always, she's my tiny best friend, but and has always been my tiny best friend. But she and I really have gotten to bond over music, and that's been a really neat thing for me in the last couple of years. It's hard to bond with a 13-year-old or 14-year-old, and for them to want to talk to you. And so
we love them, but yes,
they don't always want to hang out, and she does, and we get to do really cool stuff and talk about music and bond in a lot of ways. So I
Bravo.
really, really love that. So I'm really grateful. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for
Yes.
being part of it,
Yeah.
and I look forward to seeing it grow.
Yes.
Hey. Oh.